You're listening to Well and Worthy Life, the podcast that helps midlife women feel better, look better, and live better. I'm your host, Deanna, menopause wellness coach turned to lifestyle creator, and I'm here to give you all of my tips, tools, and real talk you need to thrive in this second half of life. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Well and Worthy Life. I'm so glad you are here today. We're going to talk about my facelift that I had 1 year ago today. It's kind of crazy to me that it's been a year, but it has, and I shared it all on Instagram with you guys. You may know this, you may have followed along with me. I know so many people did, and it was so nice to have you along with me on that journey. But let me just tell you, I'm so glad that I am 1 year post-op. It was quite the journey, and it's so crazy to me because I watch a lot of people share their journeys on their facelift, and I am amazed at how easy some people make it out to be. And I do think it is easy for some people. For me, it was not easy. And if you don't know about my facelift journey, you can go to my Instagram. In fact, we'll share the link of the highlight of my whole journey doing the facelift, okay? But I thought it would be so worth it to give you some inside advice and kind of share with you some things that I don't really have time to share all on Instagram. Again, I've got my notes with me because I want to make sure I don't go off topic, that I can stay on track, because I can rattle sometimes, I can talk. The biggest thing is, why would I share this publicly? And I guess for me, if you know me, I'm a pretty much an open book, and I share pretty much everything. I don't share everything with you guys, but I share most everything with you. And so why wouldn't I share this? And I'm a big believer that the more we share that, because other people are going through some of the similar things that we are, that it kind of helps us go through this process. And I felt like for me, this was really important for me to share because, like I said, I've seen so many people go through this on Instagram, and it looks like a piece of cake. And let's just be honest, it is not a piece of cake when you're having surgery. And I've had other plastic surgery before, but this one was quite difficult. And I did not expect that at all. I really thought that I was prepared for it. However, I was not. And I guess I thought I was stronger than I was. But anyway, it was tough. And I understand that plastic surgery isn't for everyone. And in fact, to be honest with you guys, I never thought I would have a facelift. I always thought I would manage my wrinkles and everything with different like lasers and Botox and filler and stuff like that. And it wasn't until my jowls were the thing that was really starting to bother me. I was 59 years old, and I thought if I was going to do it, this would be the time to do it. I also had my oldest son getting married. And so it just really made sense to me. I was turning 60, all the things. And so that's really why I chose to go ahead and have plastic surgery. So let's talk about what I had done. I had a deep plane facelift, an endoscopic brow lift. I had masks, which I'll talk about that a little bit, in my nasal folds and in my lips. And I had a CO2 YAG laser around my eyes and around my mouth. So that's what I had done, a lot. It was really a lot. And I chose this route over injectables because I had tried injectables, filler, I've done Botox, but there wasn't a whole lot they could do about my jowls. It was gravity. And to be honest with you, probably in 10 years, the gravity is going to start again. So hopefully it stays a little bit longer than that. But yeah, there was not a whole lot they could do about that. So that's why I chose surgery. I did end up going to 2 different surgeons. I'd actually, around 54, had gone and talked to the surgeon that actually ended up doing my surgery. So about 5 years before, I went and talked to him about doing something at that point. It was really right after COVID. And I just thought, I don't know, maybe I'd looked at myself on Zoom too many times and decided that maybe I was interested. And after talking to him at that point, he recommended a mini facelift. But we talked about it and he said, you probably will want to do this again in 10 years. And I just thought, just the thought of having to do it another time didn't really appeal to me. So I decided to put it off. And so that's why at 59, I decided to do it. Now, this time I did go talk to another doctor, a doctor in Nashville that I follow on Instagram. And my thought was he did more than just face, he did face and body. And I kind of wanted to have a mini tummy, or not a mini tummy tuck. I did a mini tummy tuck years ago, right after I had my youngest son, so 31 years ago. I really wanted to have it revised because it's never been a flat stomach, and I really would like for it to be flat. But anyway, so I wanted to go talk to him because I thought, well, if I do the facelift, then maybe I can do that at the same time. I liked him a lot. And then I came back. My husband really encouraged me. He's like, will you please talk to somebody in Birmingham? So I went back to Dr. Russo, who I ended up choosing to do my surgery, and talked to him. He just does faces. So the tummy thing was out, doing it with him. But I felt very confident. And the more people I talked to about doing it, they said if you could do it close to home, that would be ideal. So I did decide to go with Dr. Russo, and I am so thrilled that I did. I love his practice. I love him. There's another doctor in the practice that I actually saw post-op, Dr. Adams, and I really liked him as well. So I was very happy with my decision on the surgeon. Let's get into what I wanted. Obviously, I did want to look different. I wanted to look like myself. I just wanted to be refreshed. And I really feel like that's what I got. That's exactly what I got. I don't feel like I look different. I feel refreshed, and my skin is a lot tighter around my jowls. And anyway, so I really am very happy with that. Okay, now let's really talk about what the recovery is like. And for me, that recovery was really tough. And it was tough because I did get sick on top of it. And I traveled the week before my surgery, which I probably shouldn't have done because it was in January. And, when you're traveling on an airplane, no telling what you get. And so I don't know if I actually got it while I was traveling or just, the next day. I don't know. But anyway, I did end up getting pneumonia. So my recovery was a lot more difficult than an average recovery. I also felt like I did a lot. So, the endoscopic, the deep plane, the SMAS, the laser. And to me, I don't know what was the hardest because it was all, all hard at the moment. The first night I went, they did my surgery that day, and then they had a nurse pick me up at their office and take me to a hotel, and she kept warm compresses on me all night long, which was really nice. I wasn't really in any pain at that point. I don't remember any real pain anyway, and it was a little foggy. And then she brought me back to the office the next day, and where my husband met me and actually my friend, and they went over my post-op instructions. They took out the draining tube, and I didn't even realize I had a drainage tube. So they took that out. They unwrapped my head and put some more bandages on me, and told me how to take care of my incisions. Like I said, went over that with my friend and with my husband, and sent me home. And I got home, and it was tough to look at myself in the mirror. I suspected I would not look my best, obviously, so it wasn't a surprise. But the biggest problem I had, I couldn't sleep because I had to sleep elevated. My head hurt tremendously from the brow lift. And you remember, I'm getting sick too during this time. So when I get sick, my head always hurts. So that was really not fun. And with that YAG laser I had around my eyes, it just made it really difficult for me to see well, I guess because I had all the Vaseline all over my eyes. And anyway, between all of that, not sleeping, not feeling good, that first at least 2 weeks was very hard. I really questioned myself why I did this, and the more I've shared about this, the more I've heard from other people, they feel the same way, and you really feel bad. I felt really some shame because I was embarrassed that I had done this to myself, that I had caused my own pain. It's one thing if you're sick and you didn't cause it, but I caused this to myself, and so I felt and the only word that comes to me is shame, like, "Oh my gosh, why would you do this to yourself?" And I remember just sitting there crying and just being so upset with myself, thinking, "You are crazy, girl, and you're doing this for vain," and, all the things, and I really beat myself up. Again, it was just a really tough time. And it's funny because when I do watch people on Instagram, I'm like so shocked at how easy their recovery seems to be. So I don't think that everybody and shares everything, because the more I shared about how much I struggled, the more I was hearing from other people saying the same sort of things. So I don't feel like I was alone in that. I had to be very patient on my healing. And the thing that took the longest to heal was the YAG laser, which Dr. Russo told me that would take the longest. He told me 6 weeks, and it was every bit of 6 weeks, if not longer than 6 weeks. I could wear makeup, but it wasn't covered all the way. I felt like I looked like a clown because it was around my eyes and around my mouth, and I wondered if this redness would ever go away, but it did finally, thank goodness. And I was, even those first couple of weeks, I couldn't put any makeup on, of course, which I didn't care about that. I couldn't even put sunblock on, which meant I couldn't get outside. So I was had to protect that virgin skin, right? And like I said, I wasn't sleeping good. I was sick. It was just a tough, tough recovery. Just know that if you are going through this, kind of prepare yourself mentally. So here are some of the things I would do differently, or I would give you advice to think about doing. First of all, looking back, I should have had somebody either come in my house or me go to a hotel or Airbnb or something like that, where I could have somebody take care of me for 4 or 5 days, at least minimum 4 or 5 days. And the reason I say this is because honestly, I thought between my friend and my husband, I would be fine. But, my friend, she would have come over here anytime I would have called her. But she was busy with her own life, and I'm one that doesn't like to impose on people and thinks, well, I can do it myself. And Jeff tried. He did try, but he got sick too. And let's just face it, most men, not all men, but most men just do not know how to take care of you. So I wish I would have had somebody that was like a mother that would have taken care of me and really been there for me, but I didn't. And so I even had to take care of all the stitches and all the staples by myself. And that was really tough because I did feel like that first week I was like Frankenstein's wife. I felt like I had just been stapled back together. So that was really tough. My skincare routine before and after. Again, if you've been following me, you know I go to my Rainberry and I go get facials on a regular basis. And I did this before, and I'm doing it after my facelift. I do micro needling, which is very good for before and after. And I use really good products. One thing that I do think is really important is really listening to your doctor on what products to use. One of the only products I could use after I had my facelift, right afterwards, for the first 2 weeks, I think it was Hydrinity. And it was a spray and a serum. And that was really great for the laser I had done, and it felt really good. In fact, I went through that stuff and I'm out of some of it now, and I need to get some because I really like the results of the Hydrinity. And it must be really good ingredients because, like I said, the only time those were the only two products that I could use right after the procedure. And then I started using, they were very reluctant about sunscreens with any kind of chemicals in it or anything like that. So Elastin is the sunscreen, the tinted sunscreen I started using right afterwards, which I love that. And then I've got a list of all the skincare that I've used since then. I'm always changing up my skincare depending upon what somebody sends me because I like to try new things. So everything that I've got listed is things that I started using after the doctor said it was okay to start putting different active ingredients on my face, okay? So you have to really listen to your doctor and pay attention to what they are telling you to use on your face and not use on your face. One of the other things that I did that was very important to my recovery was lymphatic massage. I have this girl that does a lot of lymphatic work all through my face and neck, and that's really helps me because I am still tight and numb right around my neck and that jawline. And so sometimes it gets really tight. I've always held my tension in my neck anyway. So it's very nice to have that. And I try to do that when I'm in town. So, at first I was trying to do it every week. I probably do it maybe at least once a month, sometimes twice a month if I can get in and I'm in town and everything. But I think that's a big part of my recovery. Somebody had asked me too about scars, and if not, my scars you really cannot see them, which I'm so thankful for. But again, I think that is because my surgeon is so good. But I did follow the instructions. I used everything they told me to use as far as that goes also. So I think that's really important. How I feel 1 year later. I am so glad I did it, but I'm so glad I don't have to do it again. So I am so happy with the results. If somebody told me, okay, you got to go back and do it again, I would just say, I just can't. It was such a hard recovery for me. So I am so thankful that I am on this side of it. I can't say I'm more confident or it has not changed my life by any stretch of the imagination. I like the fact that I don't have the jowls right now, but I'm also smart enough to know that in 10, 15 years, gravity will pull it back down. So I know it is just a fix just to kind of help me through these years. And I did it not for anybody except for me, and I think that's really important that if you decide to go this route, that think about why would you do it? And you're going to question yourself most likely because a lot of people do, but do it because you want to do it, not because anybody else wants you to do it. I will say having support from your family is important to have. My husband started off being very supportive, and then he was like, yeah, I don't know why you did that, which did not help matters any, right? You need people around you that support you and think you did the smart thing. But it's hard. I'm sure it was hard for him to look at me and think, why in the world did you do this? So anyway, those are things to think about. What I'd do differently, again, what I'd do differently, number one, I would not travel. That would be off. Again, I would not travel before. I would hire somebody to help me 4 or 5 days to really take care of me, clean, wash the clothes, cook for me, make sure I was eating well, just take care of me like a mother would. And yeah, probably not have the mirror around as much. I really didn't sit and look in the mirror. I probably would ask more questions up front. But probably if I'd asked too many questions, I don't know if I would have actually done it. So I'm one of those people, if I know too much, it might scare me too much. So anyway, I think that's the biggest things that I would do differently. I would hire more help. I would not travel. and I would prepare myself more mentally about why I was doing this. And I don't think I could have avoided the fact that I couldn't sleep. They gave me sleep medicine. It just it didn't do well for me. So I couldn't do that. That is, I guess, in a nutshell about my facelift. I always love hearing from you guys on questions that you have. And I love hearing other people's experience because, like I said, I think we are all different and we heal differently and we go through our journeys differently. And that's why it is very interesting to watch other people go through this process, especially now with social media. So many people are sharing about their own journeys and facelifts. But I think the important thing to remember is that just because somebody else has an easier time doesn't mean that you're going to have an easy time. And then just because somebody had a hard time doesn't mean you're going to have a hard time. Ask as many questions as you can. Line up help for yourself if this is what you decide to do. Decide to do it for you and not for anyone else. And yeah, I mean, I think that at the end of the day, it has to be a personal decision, and it is not the right decision for everyone. It was the right decision for me. Like I said, I have done other plastic surgery before, and so I wasn't new to plastic surgery, but I was new to feeling this. I think it's really probably been one of the first times I felt very fragile and very nervous about my own health. And I think that comes with getting older and just being older. And I don't know, I feel like the depression was a real thing too, because it was January, it was cold, and I couldn't do the things that I normally do to get out of that funk feeling. You know, when you get that funky feeling and you don't feel yourself. And I usually would get outside and go for a walk, move my body and things like that. And I couldn't do any of that stuff. So that really affected me mentally too. So I guess overall, it was much more a mental battle for me than a physical battle. I did have a little bit of pain, and my pain came from my headache. It really didn't even come from my laser. My laser wasn't painful, and the rest of it wasn't painful. My head hurt, and I think it's from the endoscopic brow lift. And like I said, I got pneumonia. So all those things made it a much rougher journey. And like I said, if you want to go back and see the whole journey, you can go back onto my Instagram and find all of that there in the highlight reel, which we will link. We'll also link all of the products that I used today after my procedure. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at deanna@wellandworthylife.com. I love hearing from you. You can direct message me. And if you know somebody that is going through this or contemplating this, you might want to share this episode with them. Like I said, I think it's very important for us to share our experiences because somebody else may be going through something similar. And I think it just helps to have the more information you have, the more suggestions, then the better decisions that we all can make. So again, thank you for joining me on Well and Worthy Life. I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, just stay warm during these cold months. Ugh. Thanks for being here, friend. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and keep choosing what makes you feel well and worthy.